The EU-India Cooperation and Dialogue on Migration and Mobility is an EU-funded project that was implemented between September 2017 and February 2022 by the International Centre for Migration Policy Development, International Labour Organization and India Centre for Migration. With the project nearing its completion, a closing event was organised on the 24th of February 2022 in New Delhi in a hybrid format to reflect upon the main achievements and outcomes of this project, as well as to capture views and suggestions for what actions may help strengthen collaboration in the future. The seminar brought together officials from the Government of India and the European Union, EU member states, as well as representatives of the project implementing partners, key institutions and experts.
That the India-EU Cooperation Dialogue on Migration and Mobility project has made a remarkable contribution towards bridging the knowledge gap and enhancing mobility and migration governance in the India-EU corridor.
We very much appreciate this engagement. It has allowed us to discuss the different aspects of our cooperation as they are covered by the Common Agenda on Migration and Mobility between the European Union and India, the CAMM.
So the project has been extremely valuable in really breathing life into the Common Agenda on Migration and Mobility between the EU and India. It has built trust, it has built a foundation of common understanding of data, of common views on how to approach the issues that are within the Common Agenda. And it has also contributed to the preparations and the support for the high-level dialogue on migration and mobility, which is taking place annually between the EU and Indian officials. I think this project has been really key to make these dialogues a success and to advance our mutual cooperation in this area and really lays the foundation for the future ahead, which I think is very bright.
ICM has been the local implementation partner on behalf of Government of India in this project on India-EU Common Agenda on Migration and Mobility. During this project, a range of products have been developed which facilitate MEA's goal of safe and legal migration. We believe that the pre-departure orientation handbook developed under this project, for instance, will help in raising awareness among prospective migrants to Europe. Student checklist, podcast are all very important tools which will aid in facilitating mobility in this corridor.
Following the opening remarks, the project partners presented the key results and achievements of the project and highlighted its impact on the EU-India dialogue on migration issues.
So the key highlights, results and achievements of this project can be broadly outlined as you see. There have been practical tools developed which address the mobility flows in the India-EU corridor. Various political administrative changes have happened.
The other output of the project that we are extremely proud of is the political and administrative changes that have come about. We cannot say directly, but at least we've been able to facilitate them. Of course, the regularity of the high-level dialogue in 2019 and potentially in 2022.
This was just actually a snapshot of what we've done, so there's obviously a lot more which we haven't captured, but we've tried to capture an essence of what we have done.
So the value added of the ILO to this work with India and EU on the migration corridor between India and EU is really that we are, so to say, neutral convener. The International Labour Organization brings together governments, but also the employers and the workers. And we do have a mandate to convene these actors around questions of labour migration to make it fair and to make it regular. So these are the things we have been bringing in also from other work we do on other migration corridors. And this has been, I think, the strength of the ILO, together with its implementation partners, to really create this platform and build the knowledge products that underpin reaching out also to the diaspora, to the employers, to the workers, to see how they can really benefit from regular and fair migration.
ICMPD is facilitating, supporting several regional dialogues in the area of migration between the European Union and its partners. So we have been able to bring in that approach and that experience into the context of the EU and India Common Agenda on Migration and Mobility into this dialogue. This has also enabled the project to implement several activities in the European Union and its member states, as well as the engagement of a number of EU member states in this project.
We have been able to accomplish two key main achievements. The first is broadening the dialogue between the EU and India to include topics that have been in the past of a sensitive nature, such as irregular migration, return and readmission, but at the same time also be able to establish a baseline of data so that when we talk about migration and the flows between the European Union and India, we are talking on the basis of facts and a shared commitment to collecting of data, as well as the definitions and concepts that make up migration and migration patterns.
The closing ceremony also provided an opportunity for the project partners to present and discuss ideas on how to build on the project's achievements moving forward. As part of this, key recommendations and remarks from the Government of India and EU officials and other stakeholders were noted.
Thank you very much for already opening the second part of this seminar again. I mean, bringing new opportunities and where we could work. And I think, I mean, my colleague from the MEA, I mean, just explain, I mean, what they can do, and that's exactly that. You're showing also by your question the relevance of this dialogue on migration and mobility.
In terms of at least the kind of research outputs and events and the stakeholder engagement that you have done. I think if you want to update your presentation, I would say that even the bilateral agreements that are happening between India and various member states, I think you can show or you can project as one of the outcomes of the CAMM, because CAMM has definitely facilitated member states' attitude towards having a bilateral agreement with India directly, and we in the Ministry of External Affairs are witnessing that positive approach on both sides, I should say.
This project has contributed greatly to furthering EU-India cooperation on migration and mobility. And this closing event was not an end in itself, but rather an important milestone that will be followed up with continued and closer cooperation on these important issues.